Good morning, everybody. My name is Cynthia Wheeler, and I want to share some information I learned with you all. Um, Sometimes we feel powerless to change the system. People say, oh, that's the law, that's the way it is. But we cannot begin to change the system if we don't understand the system and how it works. And to be honest, I'm just learning the system, so I would like to share with you all what I've learned. Back in November, I had the opportunity to go to Tallahassee, our state capital, and testify before the Civil Justice Committee on House Bill 455. House Bill 455 is an alimony reform bill. What I learned in that testimony was eye-opening. We would like to live under the assumption that our government operates in a somewhat effective manner. Everybody is all hyped up about the presidential elections. Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, and all of the stuff. And it's great and it's exciting, but our state laws affect our everyday lives just as much as the presidential elections and the federal laws and things that take place. So it's negligent on our behalf not to address our state laws, because in actuality we have more control over our state laws and improving them than we do over the federal laws. Um, when I went to Tallahassee to testify before the Civil Justice Committee, the House Civil Justice Committee, I was dumbfounded. Representative Colleen Burton sponsored Bill 455, and Ms. Burton was ignorant of the things that were contained in her bill. At one point within the hearing, she had to ask to speak to one of her experts. If you're not familiar, how we get laws is first we have to have a bill sponsored. And our legislators can sponsor those bills. That's one method of getting them. And it can be our senators or our state representatives. Senators can sponsor an unlimited amount of bills, and our House representatives can sponsor 6 bills. So when a senator or representative decides to sponsor a bill, it is with the intention of that bill becoming a law. So it's just common sense that if you're a representative or a senator and you sponsor a bill, that you know what's contained in that bill, that you've researched that bill in everything, all of the nuances, and you've thought about how it's going to impact people's lives, because these are not just things on paper. These will impact our lives once these bills pass. At one point in the hearing, Representative Burton had to ask to speak to her expert. I'm sorry. If you go to the length of sponsoring a bill, you should be the expert on the bill. It should be thoroughly researched. You should have thought about how it will impact people's lives and how it will be implemented. The monetary cost, all of those things should have been researched. So, since Representative Burton was sponsoring the bill, she should have been the most educated and knowledgeable person in the room. And the fact that she didn't know what was in her own bill is scary, because that means you have people proposing laws that they haven't researched. Would you just wake up one day and say, oh, I think I sponsor a law that are going to affect millions of Florida citizens? It's crazy. And I don't want you to accept my word. I'm going to put a link up to that subcommittee hearing so you can view it for yourself. And I ask you to do like they do in sports and football. Stop it, slow it down, pause it, and think. Because a lot of times when we see stuff going really fast, we don't catch up on all the nuances and what it really means, and to really critically think and examine what's being said. From my understanding, Representative Burton's expert was a lobbyist who wrote her bill, or possibly wrote her bill. No, lobbyists don't write our bills. We, the people, elect the legislators, our senators, and our representatives to research our bills, not to the person who has the most money or the person who contributes the most to your campaign or has an agenda that's commensurate with you, because the laws are not just for the people who elected you, it's for the entire state. And we cannot sell our legislator, and that's what's happening. And we have to become engaged in this process to stop it. So that's what I wanted to say about House Bill 455. Now, when we went to that hearing, we had people that came and testified for the bill or pro, and then people that were against the bill. One of the things, since it was a family law bill, our courts and our legislature depend heavily upon the Florida Bar Association, because lawyers work in the court system, so they're knowledgeable about how things work. And within the Florida Bar, you have various committees. And one of the committees is the Family Law Committee. And the Florida Bar Family Law Committee's opinions carry a lot of weight. And one of the attorneys representing the Florida Bar Family Law Committee, in my opinion, showed a lack of candor. And a lack of candor is one of the things that attorneys are sworn to follow. Basically, in my opinion, he lied. And he lied in such a way that would falsely support House Bill 455. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to get sued. But you have the opportunity, you can look at the clip. He said it made a lot of inconsistent statements that were not true. He said that all of the parties were brought together and that House Bill 455 was a compromise. I called this attorney to get clarification. All of the parties were not brought to the table. A compromise is an agreement between all involved parties. Well, the only involved parties he brought to the table were the people in support of the bill. He never communicated that people who were in opposition to the bill were brought to the table. So there was no compromise. And he represented that the 3,500 attorneys of the Florida Bar were in support of that bill. I'm sorry, the Florida Bar Family Law Committee were in support of that bill. That is huge. That is saying that the people who work in the family court system, who have knowledge, saw the facts of this bill and supported it. That didn't happen. I asked him, did you reach out to the 3,500 attorneys of the Florida Bar Family Law Committee to get their opinion of the bill? Did you send an email? Did you send a form? What way did you come to the conclusion that the 3,500 attorneys of the Florida Bar Family Law Committee were in support of that bill? He didn't. He said something along the lines of he spoke with somebody in an executive committee. Now, there is a distinct difference between saying the executive blah, blah, blah supports this bill and 3,500 attorneys of the Florida Bar support this bill, or the majority of the 3,500 support this bill. That is not what he informed the Civil Justice Committee. That took into account that the experts within the field thought that this bill was good. So you have to question, why would an attorney and a Florida Bar Family Law attorney come and misrepresent the facts in such a way? And that is a huge portion of the decision the people on the Civil Justice Committee used to make their decision. So basically, this bill passed that committee with false information, and we have an entire bill being proposed as a law based on fraudulent and false information. Now, the Supreme Court and the legislature legislature depend heavily upon the Florida Bar Family Law Committee. And I think the Florida Bar Family Law Committee needs to chastise this attorney for diminishing their credibility by lying. And that's essentially what he did. He lied. He said 3,500 attorneys of the Florida Bar Family Law Committee were in support of that bill, which he never made any attempt to contact the 3,500 attorneys per his conversation that he and I had. I requested that he correct his misstatement of fact, and he declined to. Now, if you misspoke and you caused something to be conveyed that was not true, the appropriate thing to do would be to correct it, because we have an entire bill being based upon the Florida Bar Family Law Committee's opinion, which is very important. So why wouldn't you correct that? Mistakes, can be honest, we all can misspeak at times. And you just say, you know what? My bad. When I testified before the committee in support of that bill, I misrepresented the facts. I misspoke. And you corrected. But he declined to. And so what I'm proposing to do is file a Florida Bar complaint against this attorney for showing a lack of candor. And you can look up at the Florida Bar Association's website, and you can find the rule of ethics and professionalism. I would hope that the Florida Bar Family Law Committee and the Florida Bar would discipline and address this attorney in the appropriate manner so that he will never go and misrepresent the intentions and the opinion of the Florida Bar. If the Florida Bar does not address this attorney, we need to reconsider why we allow the Florida Bar to have such great authority in our judicial system. Because the reality is, when laws are passed, the Florida Bar Family Law Committees and Forum Committees make up all of the forms. They are given a great amount of responsibility. I question the amount of responsibility that they give, because I think it comes with invisible strings, because they financially benefit from everything. And I think the price that we pay for them doing that work is too high. As a taxpayer, I would rather see a disinterested third party handling a lot of the things that have been abdicated to the Florida Bar, because I think the price is too high. I don't think an entity that financially benefits from a lot of the things they do should have that much authority and power over the process. And that's something we need to begin to question as citizens. We feel very apathetic at times. We don't feel we have the power to do anything. Individually, we have no power. Collectively, we can change this. I can't change it by myself, but I'm reaching out to connect with people who see what's going on, who are shocked and want to change the system. So let's get active. Let's get going. Let's do this. And I would like for you all to go and view that video. And I would like to get your opinions. So let's get the discussions going, because we cannot begin to change the system if we don't first identify some of the problems. So let's do this.